and the deck following today's call. And we're so excited to have you. And I will turn things over to Megan and Cassandra from our customer success team, who will be running the show today.
Thank you, Caroline. Hey, everyone. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. I think we all start losing track of what day it is, what time it is, as soon as Halloween ends, and now we're already just a week before Thanksgiving. So we wanted to chat a little bit with you guys today about how to drive those sales and, maybe some fun things that you can do in the store and how Simple Consign is going to help you take care of all of that and little tips and tricks that excuse me, we've used along the years working in stores, myself and Cassandra both, and have in-store experience. So this was always one of my favorite times of year to get wild and crazy and see how we could do things kind of like regular retail to get that business in and still have a lot of fun doing it, even though, we're in the resale business. So we've got some little notes that we can follow along the way. That way we don't get too sidetracked, because if you've talked to me before, I will go off on totally different topics. So Caroline, if you would go ahead and change that first slide. And before we do go ahead and get started too, I want Cassandra to be able to say hi to everyone as well. And then we'll start on some of those sales and discount strategies.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cassandra Alexander. I'm the manager of customer success here at SimpleConsign, and I, in previous roles, have actually used SimpleConsign in store. I've been in the resale business, probably near 20 years, definitely 15, and then I worked in some like off-price channels and some .com resale sites as well. So my background is in visual merchandising and historic costume, which is like museum studies for historic costumes. So lots of hands-on experience in different areas of retail as well as resale. And Megan, did you want to touch on a little bit of what you did as well?
Yeah, of course. So circling back to that as well, if you don't know, hi, I'm Megan. Last name is Hettinger, formerly here present. Definitely so excited about the holidays. So I get really giddy talking about these things. So I worked in a store for almost 8 years doing traditional consignment for ladies and men's high volume, big store, about 7,200 square feet. So I've used Simple Consign as well, in store. Prior to that, I was in the regular retail world, in management and managing stores and districts and things like that. So, and plus we're all shoppers, right? We're our best customers because we know what we like. We know what marketing works really well, and we know how we get drawn into stores that we never thought we would get into. So mostly here, if you've talked to me before, I do training and onboarding. So usually I'm one of the first people that you talk to, get you set up in the system, teach you how to use it, all those tips and tricks, little ideas, just that soundboard that, you need and want at different times. Um, so yeah, so let's go ahead and start talking about holiday season. If you haven't already started thinking about it, as we know, now is the time. With Thanksgiving being next week and Black Friday, and then right after that, rolling into Christmas, typically, you may see, depending on what type of store you are, that your customers are shopping for themselves, not maybe as much for other people, depending on, are you like a mercantile? Are you doing traditional consignment? So there's a huge mix and there's a huge gray area. But, thinking about how you're going to launch that or keep it going is also crucial. So at this point in time, if you haven't started thinking about what the front of your store looks like, displays, maybe some decor, social media, just all of those things that, excuse me, say, hey, we're here and we're going to start celebrating the holidays, and we want to offer you some great sales in the process. And excuse me. Allergy season is top notch this year. So, how are we gonna do that? How are we going to draw in those new customers, offer them those discounts and strategies and get those good sales? And how are we going to keep our loyal customers coming back for more over and over and over again, especially how when they shop during the holiday season, either for themselves or for other people? So, we're making these lists, right? And we're saying, okay, for example, here looking at this slide, how am I bringing those people in? Again, your marketing for social media, your signage at the front of your store. Do you have a storefront where you can, put things up in your windows? Do you have a sandwich board outside, and the triangular boards where you can write all those sales and, have something festive on there and come on in? So visually, what are you putting out there into the world to say, come on in? Once your customer gets in the store, are you moving some things around to make extra space for extra inventory? Are you, buying wholesale to get things in? And then once you get that inventory flowing in, of course, you're already starting to think about, okay, what kind of sales am I then going to offer? Dashboard in SimpleConsign is going to be the perfect spot on the bottom right-hand corner to look at, how many on average is your average invoice and how many on average of pieces are walking out per transaction. If we've been, in the retail or resale world for any amount of time, or just, kind of like look at math, we know that if we increase how many pieces are in a transaction, we're going to naturally increase that average invoice. So, we start thinking about that and getting that quick information. Social media, email, newsletters. Now's also the time to start thinking about how you want to send that stuff out. What kind of schedule? You don't want to do it too infrequently, but you also don't want to do it too frequently, along with all the other stores that are out there, and people are getting hundreds of emails and then they just go delete, 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 delete because it's just too much. We've all been there. And get everybody too super excited. I mean, this is the holiday season. We're all coming to work. We spend a lot of time together. So, how are you going to get the rest of your teammates, super pumped for all of these things that are going to be coming up in the next coming weeks? So we'll go ahead and we'll switch over to our next slide, and I'll let Cassandra take this one.
Okay, so we were talking about some things. How are you going to make your sale effective? You need to bring your traffic in. You need to make your shop visible to people that already know who you are, but you need to be top of mind. They need to remember you for that thing that they come to you for. They need a new coat. They need to come to you first. And if you don't have what they need, maybe they'll go somewhere else, but hopefully they come to you first. That's kind of the concept of being top of mind. You need to let people that haven't visited your shop know that you exist. And then even people that don't make it in your sale, they'll say, next time they have a sale, I've got to get in there. I need to remember to go. So you're achieving multiple goals at once, and you're not just thinking narrowly about this exact sale and the proceeds. It's how you layer your strategy on top of one another so that down the road it keeps building and building, and you have more successful and effective promotions that are hitting multiple goals at once, and not just that one goal of like make more money than on an average Saturday, right? So to consider what type of sale might work best for you, you want to consider how you're using your SimpleConsign software. Maybe you already have a date discount. Do you give an incentive for consigners that use store credit? Do you use our reward points program? So think about how you use it. Think about if you want to implement some feature that you don't already use. And if you want to talk to someone about that, Megan and myself are those people, as well as our support team. Another thing to consider is your current inventory stock levels. So if you are just busting at the seams in a particular category, consider making a sale for that particular category. You want to free up space, get some of the old stuff out, have room to bring in new things, because you always want to have the channel flowing for new merchandise. You don't want to have to stop and say, we have too many of these. So try, thinking if you need to target your sales to particular categories or areas of your shop. Um, Consider what upcoming discounts you already have. If you have a date discount or a category date discount already scheduled in the future, then plan around what types of sales those are, so you are hitting the things that may not frequently go on sale to appeal to the people that know already how your current sales system works. Obviously, you want to review your prior events, what was successful for you and what wasn't, and why. So it might not mean that you need to have a different type of sale, but maybe you need to promote the sale differently, or combine it. Maybe you add an additional, 10% off of everything type of thing. Think through your events, and decide what your strategy is, not just for now, but your next few sales. So you have a different assortment, kind of the way that different people learn differently, a visual or, like just conversationally learning. You might have different people in your community that like to shop different types of sales. So having a different type of sales cadence may work for you. You want to consider your competitors' events, whether that be other resale competitors, they're like friends, right? Because a lot of you are dealing with single SKU items, so it's not apples to apples. But consider when they're having them. Are you able to get ahead and be that place that they come to first? Or do you want to kind of, you know, have your events in between other things that are happening in your town? Holiday events, are they near you? Are they further away from you? Think about that strategically. And then again, allowing the system to do it for you. Allow SimpleConsign to set up your sales events so that it's easier and you don't have to worry much about that. So that's what Megan's going to start to go into detail on the next slide.
All right. Well, I already want to start shopping. This is, it's getting me going. All right. So lots of different ways. First thing that we're going to talk about is that category discount as a whole. And that's one of the last things that Cassandra had just talked about. And just to throw in that little personal touch is I always used to have a seasonal category at the store that I worked at. And so this time of year, seasonal would be those Christmas sweaters, sequins, anything red, green, the tartan plaids, things that you typically would look for to purchase this time of year. And I didn't care what it was, but if it was something that I put in the seasonal category, I would tell my consigners, hey, listen, I'm taking this only because we have a very short season to sell it in. People are looking for it. They will buy it, but we've got a shorter time frame, right? They're not going to buy it after Christmas. And then anything in there a week before Christmas, a couple days before Christmas, that's exactly what I would do. I'd say anything in this seasonal category is 10% off. And the categories would print on my tag as well. So there wasn't any, oh, well, this might be this. Hey, listen, if it says seasonal on the tag and it looks seasonal, then it's going to be 10% off starting, 10 days before Christmas. And I used to increase it in increments. And then right after the holiday, then it would go on a deep discount. So that's one thing to think about, is creating yourself different categories if you don't already have them, so you can mark them down. And that's just as easy as going into those settings, into your discount tab, down at the bottom, selecting the discount. What day do you want it to start, end? And right before that, what is that discount amount? And the nice thing is too, is you can also go ahead and you can stack those. You can say, I want my seasonal discount just before 10%, this date to this date, 25%, this date to this date. So all you have to do is scan that item up at the cash register when you have a customer purchasing it. So that's definitely item number one here on this slide. If you are a store that rents out space, we call those vendor malls, mercantiles, markets. They're getting all kinds of new names these days. So we use those all interchangeably. But you are renting out space. Your consigners, AKA vendors, are also pricing their own items. They are coming to you and saying, hey, I would like to run a promotion in my space, booth, whatever it is, shelf, from this date to this date. So now is going to be the time to perhaps send out a newsletter, start talking about it, put a sign out, put a note on the consigner access portal. That is a great place to, converse with send messages to your consigners, because they bring in stuff, people buy it. It's that well-oiled machine that you've got. So start talking to them about, hey, do you want to offer any discounts for this holiday season? If so, what are they? What is that going to look like? And you'll guide them along the way, right? You're not going to say, oh, you can put everything at 90% off. That might be a little extreme. You've got to, make your operational costs and your business cost as well. But now's the time to start talking about that. Your consigners in this scenario cannot set their own discounts. You've got to do it in the store. And trust me, that is for the best, because the last thing that you would want is to not know when things are on sale or not. And they're just, making it up to your cash register area. And this is 50% off. Is that right? And then it just, causes that little moment of confusion. So they can tell you what they would like to your guidelines, and then you would put that in the system under their, what I call their consigner profile, right? Where their rent information is. So that's another great idea. Another one that we love to use is tag colors. A lot of stores, especially clothing stores, how many times have we walked into, a resale shop and we see the different colors, and our first thought is immediately, what do they mean? What are those different colors? What is on sale? What's not on sale? It's like a scavenger hunt. It makes shopping fun. You just never know what you're going to get. And that's the allure, right? For us, shopping consignment for a lot of it. And, we're looking for the best price on things we didn't know we needed. So if you are using tag colors with the infamous 2-up tag, that is one of the most popular tags. They're the side-by-side hang tags. They come in about, I don't know, 40 different colors. So you definitely have a wide variety of what you can choose. Get that color for your roll for this month or next month. Maybe have one color for November, orange or brown. December, maybe green, red, or maybe green and red. You might divvy it up. But when you're pricing those items, right, you're going to say, hey, I'm putting this item on a red tag. I'm putting it on a green tag. And then that way you can go back into that discount section under your settings and say, I want all red tags to be 50% off December 26th through January 1st, just as an example. And again, you can stack those tags. You can come up with a plan, have your notepad, any and all tag colors, and put them all in at the same time. That way, once the holiday season really kicks up, which it's starting to, you don't have to think about it, right? It's already in there. It's already preset for you. And of course, too, when this item is scanned at your checkout screen and there's a discount, if there's something that looks weird or it shouldn't have been discounted, you can always change it on that checkout screen. So it's certainly not set in stone. I can't sell it if it doesn't have this discount. You always have that control ultimately on that screen. So tag colors, a beautiful thing. And another thing that drives really great business and sales when you have the tag colors is leave them in with other things, because that then kind of, I don't want to say forces, but it intrigues, it makes your customers go through those racks to look for the red or green, and they may see things in between that might not be on sale or just other pieces, and they're grabbing those too. And then you're increasing your sales in another way. Last thing that we have here on the slide, of course, I'm trying to use my mouse. I have no control over that, is, the additional transaction discount. So on your checkout screen, and this is a fan favorite, over to the right-hand side, there's just a box and it says discount percent. And when you put in whatever discount in there, it automatically takes whatever that percentage is off of anything that is in your selling screen. Anything that you have scanned or inputted all gets that discount applied to it. So that is real fast. It is real easy. In addition to that, it's not on this slide, but I'm going to squeeze it in there too, is if you click on the item that you're selling, you can give just that one item a discount as well. And we don't see it, well, you kind of see it a little bit here and there, but you can say, I rang up 5 items. I want item number 1 to be 10% off individually. So we go in, we click on that one line item, take 10% off or a dollar amount off. And then we can also do that discount over on the side if we really want to, and we can layer those discounts. You don't see that too much. We might see that for employee discounts. Got to get the team members shopping too, right? Because that helps drive business. You give them a little bit of extra incentive to shop for their friends, to shop for their family, to spread the word. Oh, hey, I got this here. It's just that huge ripple effect. So when we see the word discount, that is the quickest way we can get that money off that sale. You have full control over it, and everybody wants their money to be worth more. So the more you save, the more you typically spend. All right, we will move along to the next slide. And I'll throw it back to you, Cassandra.
All right. So kind of just to wrap up some of our favorite ways to create a sale, build around a feature in SimpleConsign and promote that, are using your store credit, additional consignor store credit percentages and reward points that either maybe you don't use additional consignor store credit, but you can turn it on. Or maybe you do use reward points, you can increase them and then decrease them after your sale period. So for the first one, additional consignor store credit is a percentage that you can have where if a consignor uses store credit, then they'll automatically get a bump of the amount of store credit. So an extra 5%, an extra 10%. But this isn't added into their account before, it's only if they use the store credit. So it is a reward when the purchase happens. So it's an incentive for the consignor to buy the item from your store, keep the store credit in the store. And if you chose to, you could increase the additional consignor store credit for your sale period. And that's even more incentive for them to make their purchases with you using their store credit. And then you could go back in and adjust it back down to your standard after your sale ends. Similarly with reward points, the reward point system is for whatever number of dollars spent increments that you set. You can have a dollar amount off that they can redeem or a percentage off, or you can do both. You're able to assort it in multiple ways. So if you use this, consider having double or triple reward points days or weekends. Super, super popular in the stores that I worked with. Brought a lot of people in. Or you could even consider adding a special redemption tier. So maybe the amount of reward points that they're getting for purchases stays the same, but they can redeem them for something special, but only a particular period of time. So people want to take advantage of that fun thing that you're doing. And I really love using these two features to get people in and excited about your shop. All right.
All right. So those are all the slides that we have, but we want to see if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to kind of throw out there, think out loud, or if we're all just ready to start going Christmas shopping, because I know I am.
Yeah, Caroline, were we
It,
able?
yes, sorry, you guys. It appears the setting was not available. So now if you have any questions, you are able to post it in the chat. Apologies for that.
And while we're waiting too for any questions, because I just can't help myself, we'll go ahead and we'll send out, my email address. We'll send out contact information to you, because we have all little tips and tricks too up our sleeve, right? Like, hey, do the 12 days of Christmas, do the, Nights of Hanukkah, make it fun, make it inclusive for all different ages and all different, just everything. And that really gets excited. We used to do, like Santa's sleigh, and we had different, discounts and coupons and all that kind of fun stuff in there. And people would literally just want to make a purchase because they wanted to pick something out of the sleigh. I mean, how many times have we done that, right? We're like, yeah, we want to buy something because we want to play the game.
Yeah,
That's what
definitely.
makes it fun. Yeah, you do a gift card promotion. People might not buy for other people in your stores the sense of buying them clothing or purses or shoes, or if you that's the type of store you have, but they will buy gift cards for people that like to shop there. So maybe do something to the effect of, hey, spend $50 in gift cards, I'll make it worth 55. Give them that little bit of extra. Can you break them up? Of course you can. So it's kind of, we see it all over the place. Stretching that money out a little bit more works every time.
Yeah, I see a question that came in from Anna. Is this a good time of year to have a specialty sale? Um, and you named a few things like American Girl dogs or American Girl dolls or Legos. And Anna, I think it depends on your scenario. Like if you think you have customers that are already drawn into your shop for those things, and drawing them in with the sale will bring them in to look at all the other great items that you have in store, especially if your inventory number is really high, if you're really packed, then yeah, that probably is a good idea. But if you have more stock in those types of brands than you normally do, if they're not moving as fast as you've seen them move in the past, there are a lot of things to consider. And if you need help looking at, what your sales are for those particular items or brands, we can also help with that too. So yeah, we'll have that information for you to be able to reach out if you have other more in-depth questions.
And I know we talked a lot to you about Christmas, but I'm like, do not forget about Black Friday, the day before Thanksgiving, if you're going to be open. And excuse me, right after that is Small Business Saturday. So that is a huge business driver. Everybody wants to support their favorite small locally owned businesses.
Awesome. And if there are any questions that you think of, feel free to send them over We will follow up via email and include some email addresses there, but you can always feel free to send it to marketing@simpleconsign.com, and we will get back to you with any information you need. And apologies again for that delay in opening the chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we do have some resources on one more slide that we will be linking and sharing in the follow-up email.